Okay, onto this video, we're going to essentially be doing a minor front end rebuild. Probably only going to film one side, but I've got a ton of noise coming from the brake when I apply the brakes on this side. I really think the rotor's groove so bad that the pads, are just gone. I don't know if the reason for the grooved rotor is the bearing or the axle, although I know for sure the boot is messed up. And then I also know when I put it in four-wheel drive, that right front quarter starts to make really bad sounds. So I was like, okay, well, I got some other side parts in the car still, but I'm gonna do the right front first, and I hope I don't need a caliper. But let's see, we just got a bunch of these Ingersoll Rand tools, so I'm pretty happy about that. They're gonna help get everything apart in a hurry. This is the 1,500 foot-pound half-inch wrench, and this is that little 300 to 400 foot-pound. I kind of do-it-yourself, do-it-all 3/8 wrench. And then sponsoring, the unofficial sponsor of today's video is the Nuco brake wash and the Nuco penetrating oil, the 4-way. So those are going to be the two fluids used today. Everything else should just be tools and taking stuff apart. I did grab a big hammer because I know I have to bust out the lug nuts to replace the hubs on these. So let's get it started. So we definitely got some bearing or something. Listen to this noise. Helen, don't move for a second, okay? We're listening. So yeah, and obviously when I pressed the brake, it made it even worse. So glad we're doing this now because it's definitely needed. Well, I gotta go to the store and buy a 3/8 socket. I only have a 10 mil of the Allen socket, but check out how bad that CV axle is. This is definitely the cause for my noise in four-wheel drive. So glad I got one of those on hand, but I can't do nothing until I go get a bolt for this caliper, sockets for this caliper. So I got new ones of those, so those will be replaced. I gotta get those, will be another day, but clearly the bushings for the sway bars need done too. But all right, let's go get some let's go to hopefully AutoZone or something open on a Saturday has that tool for me. Check it out. On the 2500, 3500, the rotor is part of the hub, so I gotta beat out these studs or buy new ones, and then push them into the new hub. All right, so I got out just about everything we're gonna do. I'm gonna try to wiggle this CV out, but I think it appears like this sway bar might have to come out, the end link, which is fine. The bushings are gone, so it's something I can easily get, but I was trying to figure out if I could do it without it, but I don't think so. I think the sway bar end link might be required. But this is, let's see, my old pad was pretty much gone. The inside of the rotor, I damaged it a lot trying to get it out, but it had already had one, I don't think I can find it now, they probably all cracked, but the inside of the rotor was so thin. Look at that. Apparently it was needed to be done for a while. And the inside of the rotor was so thin that there was one or two little cracks on like the very edge. And I bet you that's probably what I was feeling that last day or two of driving before I parked it and said, it's time. And all the damage was me trying to beat it out, because it sits in there pretty tight and you gotta beat it out. So last thing I gotta do is get these studs out. I don't have new ones, or else I just put new ones in, but you gotta reuse your studs. And hopefully mine aren't too bad. I've already sprayed them once, and hopefully they come out nice. So we're almost there. I'd be gravy right now if that axle could get out without having to remove anything else, but it might be wishful thinking. I might have to do a little bit more. All right, so we're here. We're looking at this. This truck is 30 years old, 300,000 miles. I assume these studs are probably original, but as you see, I accidentally flattened one. Trying to get that out, because you gotta hit them from that way and push them out if you're gonna reuse them. And that's when I made the decision, let me just go buy new ones. And at AutoZone, these are only $3 a piece, so about $25 per wheel. And I was like, well, if I'd known that they were that cheap from the beginning, I would have went and done everything. So basically, this sits here, and this gets dropped over it. Can't put it down this way, it won't fit, it'll hit around this. But this gets dropped over it. These studs go in through here, and they just slide right real quick and easy through this thing. But they do catch in this, and that's where you're tapping to hold them in. So let me do that real quick. It's gonna take a decent sized hammer, and I'm using I've got an extension. Here it is. I'm gonna be using an extension like this and just put it in the spot and hit it with the hammer. And then on the other side, I can use a nut or the lug and to pull it all the way through. So about 140 foot-pounds. That means if you tighten it to that, it should be all the way where it's gonna be. Okay, so the CV axle is back in, and I put this in there because I'm in a kind of a noise restricted area. CV's not tight, but it's tight over there. So see that? I'm just gonna tighten that, and then this is done. But okay, so what I'm gonna do is put something on this side and pull this out and pull it snug, because that is the only thing that holds the rotors in place, is the grooves in this main hub bearing. So these have to be tight, or else they're gonna rub your shield or the caliper pad or the brake pad or something. But the only thing to keep these tight is to get all 8 perfect. I just impacted these on real quick just to get them in place, and because I was kind of in a noise area. And now that I have it on the car, I can kind of brace between 2 of them and pull these last with just a large hand wrench and get it snug that way. So that's what I'm gonna do. Once this is tight, I can put the pads, the caliper itself back on, and then get to this other little stuff. Everything's bolted on, the hub's bolted on, the CV axle's bolted on, and I think this is a China brand. It's a Precision GM802 8002. I think the other one I have is original, which I'm gonna save it, because if that left front ever goes bad, I'll have this one rebuilt. I heard the OEM ones that get rebuilt are always better. Maybe you can't see right here upside down, but it says made in Canada. And if the boot says made in Canada, I have a feeling like the whole thing's probably made in Canada. So I might look into the part number here once I'm done with everything, but I think that's a good sign. That's the original one. That's probably why it broke. 300,000 miles, or 260, and I've been driving on it for 40,000. So it's been bad for a while, but now everything's gonna be good up here. All right, so as we can see now, there is no movement in between the rotor and the hub. All the studs have been pulled. All the stubs have been pulled as far as they need to. And that gives you some clearance. Once they're pulled back, you've got space there, and away from the shield. So it's pretty crucial to have all the studs pulled forward. Now I think I just the method I did it, I think I just damaged one of the threads on these lug nuts, because I kept using the same one for all of them to do that, because it definitely requires a little bit of force. So I might have to go buy new lug nuts now, but at least all my stuff is shiny and new. So now we're able to put the caliper back on and hook this bearing up, and should not be too much longer. And I just buttoned up the back of the brakes with that 3/8 Allen bolt. So we got brand fresh pads. Look how much thicker that back rotor is compared to the one I took off. Yeah, that was pretty sketch. This thing fits like a glove, so be careful when putting that back on. Everything, the back pads kind of hit the ears of the other one, unless it's perfect. So, and if it's not perfect, you won't make it past this, the top and bottom ear. So it's like, make sure to get those pads just right, and they'll be good. I think the next thing that will have to probably be replaced on this is probably the caliper and the hose itself, because now that that's done. All right, next up, let's try to match this up. So that's all I wanted to show on this video. Make sure you got your wire clipped up there. They sent me with this weird one that doesn't quite work with what came, and it's a little bit too short to fit here. So I just use these two and the big one up top, and then it clips right over there. All right, and but yeah, I'm gonna spray this down with the old Nuco brake cleaner, and that'll be it. Bam. All right, so brake wise, hub wise, brake wise, CV axle wise, I am fresh and clean, and no more is needed. I could put the wheel back on now and rest the weight of the car on the wheel, but before I do that, I'm gonna get the two little guys back on. But thanks for watching today. All right, but thanks for watching, guys. It's getting dark. I'm gonna start cleaning up here and get up here early on New Year's morning. Hopefully by 10 o'clock or so, it'll be warm enough, over 40, and we can get started on the other side.